everyone, it's that time of the week again to have our weekly talk, and what we talked about this week was the best mental health advice while we are on our weight loss journey and our wellness journey and just our overall health really. And if our mental health is not right, then that's a knock-on effect to everything else in life. So it's important to make sure that we check in with that just as much as we might check in with physical care, having a shower, brushing our teeth, washing our hair. That it is important to check in on our mental health along with everything else. So this is just a snippet of what we did talk about in class this week. So I'm just going to cover the material briefly for anyone who didn't make the talk or anyone that is listening to the information again. So hello to everyone. So we get stuck in, and basically our first point there says what you see every day shapes how you think, feel and act. And how true is that? So really what we're talking about is on our feeds, on the phone, maybe on social media, email, contact list, pictures, videos, everything is in the mix of that, or who we subscribe to. So it is important to make sure that what we see is positive, because it does affect our day. If we wake up in the morning, we might see maybe a text message, or we might see a post maybe on social media, and that can set our tone for the day. So it is important to have that positivity where we can, and eliminate negativity also where we can. The second one just says then, if you basically find your feed or your phone, as it says there, is full of drama, and sometimes it could be a certain person or a certain group that we're in, that we notice that it's an awful lot of drama or chaos that seems to be around it. Comparison is in there as well, especially as females. We make that comparison, maybe someone is of a similar age, same amount of children, maybe same lifestyle, different things, maybe someone that we grew up with, or maybe someone on social media, maybe let's say the Kardashians or someone like that, that we make that comparison. And really there is no comparison, because every one of us is a VIP. We are a very important person, and we can't compare ourselves because no one else is like us, and that's the beauty about it. So not to fall into that pitfall of making that comparison. Also in there is basically negativity. It is going to pull down your mood even if you don't realise that it is. So just to be aware of that, and that mindless scrolling on the phone, maybe going into one video that brings us down into another video, and that just sets the mindset and the tone for the day if it's not positive. Okay, so really what we are talking about here is our mental health, the best advice for it, and also that we did agree with this in the class, that if our mental health isn't right, our eating isn't going to be right. Our plan is not going to be going according to plan, let's say, and we are 12 weeks out from Christmas. Still, at least a stone is what's there for the taking. That it's never too late to stop writing off that time, but really to check in with ourselves. Self-care is just so important, and what we see every day, the mind takes in. Even though you think, oh, that's water off a duck's back, and that's not really registering, what the eye sees, it goes into the mind, goes into memory, and if we don't feel it there and then, it will come up then at a later stage. Then we have, if you fill your feed basically with people that share stories, they share ideas, maybe good podcasts is in there, and that will also lift up our mood and send us in the same direction. So it's a little bit like, say if we plant sunflowers, we plant certain flowers in the garden, we'll generally know which way the sun is in the garden, or maybe on our balcony, and we position so it does get the sun, then we can water, so it's going to grow in that direction. So it's so important that we water ourselves and look after that mental health. So a couple of points that we have is, number one, the critical judge that is within us all, okay, that is in your head, does not have your best interest at heart. So that's really important to recognise that. So that critique that we have, and I just used the example in the class, maybe someone says that's a nice shirt, or your hair is nice, we say, oh, that needs to be washed, or that's pennies, or that's last year, and we get the onus off. We are our own worst critic, so it's important not to listen to that voice when it is playing havoc, to let that dust settle, and then once we're feeling a bit more balanced or a bit more level, then we can make decisions. I have lately, probably in the past 5 years, I don't make a decision on an emotion. So if I'm feeling just not even keel, maybe I might be extremely happy or maybe extremely sad, I'll wait until I balance back out again, and then I'll make that decision, because there's nothing worse than making a decision based on an emotion or how we're feeling in that particular time, and then later on we tend to regret it if we haven't made the best decision, let's say, for ourselves. Then what we have is number two. So number 2 and 6 is my favourite from this. Talk to yourself the way you would your best friend. So let's say our best friend is Anne. Would we talk to Anne in the same way that we talk to ourselves? And I would hope the answer is no. Okay, and just one member springs to mind, and she did say it openly in the class a couple of months back. She said, I wouldn't talk to myself, I wouldn't talk to the cats and dogs the way she talks to herself. And sometimes that can be the way that we just don't value ourselves. We're kind of browbeating ourselves all the time and not valuing ourselves enough. So to that question again, talk to yourself like you would your best friend. So whoever your best friend is, get their name up and say, would I talk to that person the same way that I'm talking to myself? To give yourself that reality check in there. Number 3 then, if you still, basically, if it bothers you after 24 hours, speak up within 48 hours. So let the dust settle, as I say, 24 hours, let it settle. Do I still feel the same way this time tomorrow? And if so, then it's time to talk about, rather than suppressing those feelings or doing the Irish thing, lift up the rug, brush it all under, suppress, 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 and then one day it's like a volcano. So it is important not to do that, okay, and to recognise that we do need to talk up. It's not looking for an argy-bargy or confrontation. It's recognising your feelings and dealing with them, and then you can move forward rather than harbouring grudges or different things. Number 4, then, treat yourself like someone that you're responsible for, someone that you take care of. So I'm sure we've all taken maybe care of kids or our grandkids, maybe parents, maybe in-laws, making sure they have their medication, they go to the doctor, they go to their appointments, they drink enough water, they're eating their fruit and veg. So look after yourself in that same way, because you are responsible for yourself, and put that same value in there. I did just throw out a question at the class that, how do we feel if someone lies to us and we know that it's a lie? We feel hurt, we feel disrespected, that there was no need to lie to us, and especially when we find out the lie. So I want us to treat yourself in that same way, okay? Moving on then to number 5, what we have is your mind becomes basically what you most fill your feed with, or fill your phone, or what we see, because everyone is just constantly on the phone, maybe that mindless scroll, or maybe what we see on the TV, crime stories, thrillers, different things like that. We do become what we are basically watching, or what our eyes are seeing. So basically number 6 then says you don't need to earn rest, okay? So this is my second favourite one. Rest is basically what needs us, what we need to keep going, but we feel guilty when we rest. We feel that we're lazy, or we should be doing X, Y and Z, or we should be busy. We can't sit down and maybe watch our favourite series on Netflix. That's not the case. Rest does not have to be earned. It's a given. It's something that you must do. Like we give the phone a rest to charge it up, the cars. We know we can't keep on driving cars and they run out of petrol or diesel or electricity. We know we have to top them up. So in the same way, we have to top up our own mental health and pour back into ourselves, okay? Next then it just says, number 7 has, a bad day doesn't mean a bad life. And that's easier said than done, because when you're in the moment, it just feels like it's never ending, that, or maybe just being drowned and we're looking for air. So a bad day, if we can say this is going to pass and tomorrow is a new day, and try and turn that negative into a positive, basically for our mindset. Number 8 then, your brain can't be grateful and anxious at the same time. So when anxiety takes hold, look for gratitude. So I'll always say, just jot down 3 things, put it down into your notes, and maybe on your phone, or put it into your own little message on WhatsApp. Just write it down, even on the back of your hand, any bit of paper, 3 things that you're grateful for. It just clicks that mindset straight back in. Number 9 then says, stop apologising for expressing your feelings. Okay, so it's relevant to you and how you're feeling, because then you're convincing yourself that you are not worth the space you take up. So that's an interesting one. Stop apologising for expressing your feelings. So there are the 9 points from this week's talk, and the little affirmation is, take care of your mental health, okay, first. It's tough to succeed in life when your mind is struggling. So I think that's so true. So the picture will go up into our WhatsApp group chat as well. This is the video just briefly covering the material on a video. I do talk for longer in the class on a different topic every week, with 20-minute motivational talk after our weigh-in and after our measuring. So I hope that helps. If anyone has any questions, please get in touch. But really, to make sure that we are looking after our mental health just as much as our physical health.